Hey, thanks for tuning in. So this video is going to be a breakdown of what could be better between my left and right forehands. So my right hand is my dominant forehand. It's the one that I've had for like the 15-ish years that I've been playing tennis. There's a 10-year break in there somewhere. That's a whole other story. But I'm deep into my tennis. It's not as though I just started yesterday. I've been playing a long time. So to start hitting lefty forehands instead of a two-handed backhand on the left side is kind of insane. But I felt extremely determined to do this because I've never really loved the backhand side. It always felt like a handicap shot compared to my forehand. I want to get into the details of what isn't so good about my lefty forehand. And I think it's really revealing because it shows what a good forehand has going for it. Everything from how you transfer weight to what your take back positions look like and more. So I'm on this journey where I'm constantly analyzing my habits on the left and right side, both internally and externally, as in when I'm hitting a forehand, I'm very aware, or trying to be, of what does it feel like to be in these positions? What does it feel like to hit this shot? My right forehand is the guide for what my left forehand wants to be, what it should be. Again, I'm only 3 months into this or so. I'm blown away that this much progress is even possible. Now, that's not to say I haven't put in the work. I have put in the work. I'm eating with my left hand, lots of ball machine time left hand, a lot of things in your day-to-day life that you might reflexively do with your right hand, such as brushing your teeth. I'm doing that left-handed. So I'll get into more of that journey and what it's been like in the other video. And at the end of this video, I will show you guys a more recent video. The video that we're looking at today is about a month and a half into my journey, which is about halfway to where I am now. It's been 3 months since I've started this. The footage I'll play at the end of the video is less than a couple weeks old. All right, let's turn this thing on. All right, let's compare my left and right hand forehands. This is just some footage of me playing. I'll pause and talk about things here and there. Well, here, let's start with this. This is my take back position for my righty forehand, all right? This is the example I want to follow. So you can see my left hand is actually in front of my hand a little bit, and it's kind of at the same height as my right hand, at least in this moment of the take back. And there's essentially like a parallel line all the way from my shoulder to the tip of my racket. Now, some of this is trained and some of this is just what comes naturally, but I think my right hand and right body are so coordinated that a lot of what comes naturally is actually pretty optimal. And that's going to be common for people that are right hand dominant. Like, your body is just so programmed to sense every little detail that could be better, right? And so just note that little parallel position. I'll pause elsewhere. Look at my right leg. See how my right leg is kind of involved here in the weight transfer. It's sort of up and forward a little bit. Again, I'm not saying this exact forehand right here in this moment is like the best example of all forehands to hit from me. But this is a perfectly fine forehand, and I'm just rallying. And now see, at the end of that, you can tell that my body is kind of tilting off of the right leg into the left. Like there's a natural leaning. And you can see there's like another parallel line all the way down from the ground up, like my toe, all the way up my whole body. Like there's just a nice clean line here. And I want you to look at my hip especially, because this hip here is a massive pivot point, and I look here to see if I'm doing anything funny with my weight transfer, especially on the left side. But look, right here, now this is a little while ago, but I want to point out some things that I did that I'm no longer doing. Okay, look, so here's that take back position that was similar to the other one, right? Notice that my elbow allows my forearm to essentially fall down, so we don't have that parallel line that I talked about, okay? And this is basically at the apex of my take back. In addition to that, my wrist is also cocked back and my racket is pointing up. So there's just all these jagged lines. So let's see how I use that position to actually follow through the contact point, right? So things kind of straighten out here. Sort of a big take back. And so now we have like a nice parallel line from my shoulder to my wrist, okay? But the racket is still super cocked back. Here you can see there's a lot of struggle here to hit through the ball because it's partly a coordination thing and it's a muscular difference thing. Like in this position, my core is not as engaged as it could be. And my right foot is actually pushing me this way, and my left leg is kind of pushing me this way. So like, what direction am I really doing my weight transfer? All right, so there's all these little details where the weight transfer is not necessarily working in my favor, and then my take back position is just setting me up for weird mechanics. But it's hard for me to tell that this is what's happening. Like, this doesn't feel like what was happening. And again, I've made adjustments since then, and we can talk about that in future footage. But this position right here doesn't feel like that's the position I'm in. And I think it has to do with like weakness again, because in this position, you're essentially lifting your racket up, but my left arm, and specifically in this position, maybe my left rotator, and lifting your racket up in this position would be requiring use of your external shoulder rotation. The muscles responsible for shoulder rotation in general on my left body are just weaker. So it might feel like I'm putting enough effort to have my racket up here, and my eyes are actually peripherally looking to see if my racket is up here. And you know what? Indeed, my racket is up here. So as far as I can feel and as far as I can see, this position is functional. But I have no idea that my elbow is this high relative to my wrist and relative to my shoulder. So ultimately what I ended up doing is correcting this over time. And my elbow now is much lower and my wrist is a little bit higher and the wrist is not as cocked back. But yeah. And then also some things with the weight transfer, because look at just how I'm struggling. Like I'm really just twisting around my own body, kind of jumping up in the air. I'm finding power in all these ways that are kind of suboptimal. By the way, this guy that I'm hitting with is also ambidextrous, so just what an opportunity here that you're watching two ambidextrous players. He's like actually ambidextrous, you know, and I'm trying to be. And as I try to be too, I think this can be something that is trained. Let's catch another one. Loose wrist, look at that loose wrist, parallel lines. The left hand is nice and up in front of me. Loading on the right leg, jumping up and away, but still forward. Like I still find a way to be in that position and move the weight forward. It's just little things like that the left side doesn't quite have figured out yet. And that ball's out, so like whatever. I don't really care how I hit that. Another pretty clean looking forehand. Another perfectly fine forehand. Okay, let's see here. Yeah, see the racket's cocked too high, the elbow's too high. Kind of a weird weight transfer. Look at that, look at that. See, there's so many things, guys. When you try to have a lefty forehand and you're right-handed, there's so much that your body just doesn't know. Just even, oh, how do I step into the ball? And look at how my right foot struggles. I kind of plant, my toe goes first, right? And then it's sort of unstable. And then I sort of adjust it again, and then my heel lands the second time, and then my toe points sort of forward, right? And then the left calf, my left leg gets involved, but I'm kind of out of position here. I'm out of position here, and look at the position of my right hand. It's not high enough. So at this stage of my forehand development, I mean, we could look at older footage and all these things were arguably even worse. But now my right hand is kind of engaged, like it knows that it should be up, but it's not necessarily playing the role that it should, but it's kind of in the position that it should be, kind of. So there's just so many things here, guys. Look at that straight arm. Look at that straight arm lefty forehand, but also the position of my, oh, just everything's so hilarious here. Not bad, like that's not a bad contact point. What happens here? Do I even get it over? Oh, I do. Right? Nice. Okay, see, so I'm making it work. I'm making it work. But yeah, look at that right arm too. Like my right arm just flies back, and that's the finished position of my right arm. Yeah. Yeah, see, so that's what I'm saying is that even your right arm doesn't know what role to play. You might be right hand dominant, but being right hand dominant means that you're more developed in having your left hand play the supporting role than your right hand. So having a lefty forehand, in other words, means that there's a lot of role reversal that your right hand has to get good at as well, and it's not easy, even though you're right-handed. So I'm just going to go back a couple points here. Yeah, so he hit a regular forehand, right-handed forehand. He's actually a lefty. Slices it, a little floaty, another righty again, and then he switches and hits a lefty forehand. Oh, I go for a slice? Okay, watch. Let's talk about my slice here real quick. Slicing is surprisingly hard because, well, I don't know, at least in my case, I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why it's hard, but I really noticed that like the pectoral strength and the forearm strength were exploited here. So how do I do this? I think this might be an example of an okay one. Yeah, honestly, that's not too bad. I don't look super comfortable, but that doesn't look so bad, and honestly, the shot's not bad. Like, look how hard he has to run to get to that ball. It was pretty close to the net, and it didn't land that high. Honestly, like, oh, well, there you go. Wait, I got that, right? Yeah, that's a double bounce. So honestly, not a bad slice. I think I got kind of lucky there at hitting a good one. But yeah, guys, that's just some updates. I want to make a longer length video, really breaking down the progress. But let's start with that for now. And you know what? I'm going to end on this note right here. Look at how I approach the ball. And look at what my right arm's doing. I'm already twisting to the ball. That's a good indicator of like I'm just not in the right position, and my body just isn't where it should be. I think my body should be a little closer to the ball, and in this position, my arm should be a little further back, and my torso should be a little rotated back. But there's just like 3 or 4 things here that are off. Even just approaching a ball, when you used to hit two-handed backhands, approaching a ball is different because the position you want to be in is different. That programming and how I approach a ball is still in me despite the fact I want to hit a lefty forehand. So there's just a lot of unlearning to do. I mean, it's a lot of just being objective about what could be better, and then also being objective about what isn't terrible. And it's like, well, did I get to the ball? Did I hit it over? You know, are these adjustments I can make? So it's a lot of that. Anyway, I'll make another video soon, but this is just a little breakdown of what could be better. So here is my new forehand compared to the old forehand that I was breaking down earlier. I'll play just a little bit of footage so you can watch a couple of rally points of the newer forehand, but I'm going to make a part 2 video breaking down the updates of my newer forehand, and then I'll get back to more of my regular content. Should be pretty obvious, but my elbow on the left side and just my upper body positioning in general is so much better than on the right side. The right side just has that high elbow where I have to torque things around in a weird way to get power. That's been somewhat ironed out, but you might notice pieces of these habits still in there. But again, it's a step-by-step process. These adjustments don't happen overnight. So yeah, we'll watch a little bit of footage and I will break down the updates in another detailed video soon. As we watch this footage, to wrap up this video, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsors and supporters of my content. Anyone that's bought me coffee in the past, which you can still do. There's a link below. I will shout you out in a future video. If you decide to donate directly to the channel, that's a really good way to do so. You can also use my coupon code to purchase strings from Toroline or Restring. They are my favorite companies, genuinely. I'm not just mentioning them because I have a code with them. I only wanted to work with them because I think they represent the apex of strings right now. They make the best. So check them out, as well as Voli Wellness, my electrolyte of choice. Delicious. Same deal, wouldn't be working with them unless I really loved them and believe they are among the very best. So check them out too. Discounts for everything below in the description. And my next video should be about the journey. I'll talk about why I did this and what the journey's been like. I will try to capture that. So thank you for holding out for that and watching this. I hope you enjoyed me critiquing my forehands on both sides. I appreciate your support. And yeah, not an easy journey, but it's the one that I want to be on. So here I am. Luckily, I'm very motivated to make this work, because if I wasn't, oh my goodness, wouldn't work. So until next time, thank you. Subscribe, like, comment. I will see you soon.